Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Autotopia LA, and we're back with Daniel from Vigilante. You know, we shot with you a while back, and that was a super cool Jeep. This one's Jeep on steroids. You guys are gonna love this. So let's pop the hood and start there, and then we'll dig in on the rest of it, but I think you guys gotta see the engine here.
Hellcat Redeye, 810 horsepower, crate engine from Mopar.
That's a lot in this thing. I mean, I know this thing's probably not super light, but the last one with the 392 got up and got going pretty quickly. That's smile horsepower right there, man.
That was 485 horsepower.
There you go.
You're about twice as much.
Yeah.
It's a lot of horsepower and definitely in a family wagon. It was just a demonstration of what we can do to the highest level. Not only the drivetrain is to the highest standards, you'll see on the interior we completely geeked out.
Well, because overall it does look, when you pull up, it looks, you know, I mean, it looks like what the last one did in the sense that it looks like a Jeep slightly lifted with bigger tires. But I know that's your intent with your company, is to create Jeeps that look like Wagoneers from the day, but everything's been touched on it. So let's go through mechanical and then we'll get into all the other elements because there's so much. So we got Hellcat Redeye, little over 800 horsepower, transmission, axles.
4L80E transmission, built specifically for the Redeye. Atlas 2 transfer case, Dana 60 in the back, Dana 44 in the front, 4-link suspension, bare 6-piston brakes, box chassis front to back. All the rest of the components are pretty much the same. The other drivetrains that we offer with the Vigilantes. But this is really built to handle that power.
Obviously, I mean, you say Bowler right away, I know you're in good shape. I mean, I know what they do.
Really nice company.
The Danas, you know. And then the chassis, it's a full
boxed chassis, front to back, 4-link suspension.
It's so funny, dude. It looks so OE in here.
That's the point, right?
It really does. Now, I gotta imagine all this has been reworked.
Nope.
It hasn't?
There is no body modification on this vehicle.
This is all totally how the body was?
This is absolutely, you could lift this body up and drop it on an original chassis with the original 360
and everything goes back
and
together.
Everything clicks back together.
Interesting. I was assuming you guys have had to rework this to fit everything. It all fits in the stock.
The firewall is all stock.
That's
the reason why
amazing.
we can do that is because everything's done in CAD, right? So we won't address a project unless we have it 100% bulletproof in CAD before we start accepting it. We did.
So this is the only alteration up front here?
Well,
as far as...
So the traditional way that custom shop is gonna work is basically re-engineer everything around that drivetrain. We want to maintain the body stock, but work on the accessories and work on the very thin line of being able to implement where stock tanks were sitting originally. The battery, same thing. It's all in the original position.
Yeah, so that's what I mean, how everything looks so OE. This looks like how it came, like it's a a retro version with a lot of power.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the cooling happens, I mean, if you look under the grill here, it comes really, really close to the front of this grill. There's a heat exchanger, there's a transmission cooler, there is an AC condenser, there's an oil cooler for the engine. So quite some stacking going on there, but it's all very well managed. It's a company called CNR that makes these for us, the whole stack, and stupid expensive.
But you've done all the engineering on it, so they're making it to your spec, so you know it's gonna work. Yeah, gotcha.
So this engine, I've never had it over 206 degrees, which is the temperature that you want those Hemis to be sitting at, 204,
for sure.
205, 206. AC on, full blast in the desert, no problem.
What's this color you were saying?
It's Colorado red, which is a stock Jeep color. I like to tweak the colors now and then. On some of these cars, we'll kind of update them really sensitively, right? But this is just cool the way it is.
It's a great color, dude. It looked, when you pulled up in the light, it just pops. But in here, it's a great red. It's not an overpowering red. You know what I mean? It accents the vehicle rather than overpowering it. And then the wheel tire setup, that's not stock sizing, is it?
So it's a 17x8 wheel, which is a 3D scan of the original wheel, and then basically CNC'd out a big chunk of aluminum, the same way we do all the other Vigilantes. So this
The
is
stock was on
15 by 7.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't allow for the brakes. So the wheels are brought to proportion with the rest of the vehicle.
Yep.
Since it sits a little taller due to the suspension setup, we wouldn't be able to fit these 6-piston brakes behind the stock wheels.
Yeah.
We just basically oversized everything without it looking like, you know, a monster truck, right? It's got to stay elegant.
Yeah.
It's got to stay in line with what the original Jeep was.
Yeah.
Just updated to today's standards.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That's the thing I love so much about what you guys do, man, is that it's so tastefully done.
Thank you.
It does not look like an oversized wheel. What's the tire size on it?
So this is a 285/70/17.
All the same all the way around.
Yes, arguably with this drivetrain, I'm sure there are better tires to stick to the road, but if you drive it responsibly, it's a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would imagine. Now, is this original wood on here?
No, it's all vinyl. It's a repop of the vinyl and the moldings. There were different variations. So this is really the last generation of full-size Jeeps that they made, which was basically 88, 89, 90, 91, the final edition ones. They started these Wagoneers in 1963, so you can see how far back that goes. And the closer you get to the 90s, the more plastic you find, the more, you know, of this ultra wood you find everywhere.
And what year is this one?
88.
It just looks so good, man.
Thanks, man.
I mean, this thing looks so good. And where's your exhaust come out at?
It's coming out on the right.
It all comes to one side.
Yes, we try to keep that. Yeah, there's a lot of what they call droning. There's a droning effect.
Sure.
So you basically have to cancel that out as close to the engine as possible, and then you basically tone it out to as loud or as quiet as you want on the back, right?
Yeah.
So the two lines get together into a muffler that sits right under the passenger seat, and then it comes back.
Yeah, it sounds really good. By the way, nice touch, not overly done.
Thank you.
That's one, I gotta admit, it drives me bonkers with some either custom builds or OE, where over and over and over, all over the vehicle, they keep reminding you what you're in. It's like, I know I bought it.
Big stickers.
Quit, please stop.
We wanna have basically one touch on the outside and one touch on the inside.
Yeah.
That remind you, but for the rest, it's got to stay native to the original.
Yeah, it's just very subtle and tastefully done. So I want to see, because I love this. I love that you gave it a step, man.
Yeah, so that's right now. I mean, every client wants to have that. We used to offer it as an option. Right now, it's just every single vehicle.
Kind of no-brainer. I mean, the step up without it is a pretty decent step. You know, it's doable, but it's so much better to have that.
Since it's a family wagon too, you know, you want your kids. I mean, my son can climb in here, no problem on his own.
Yep. Boy, right away you grab that steering wheel and you go, that is definitely not stock.
It is, but it's just, leather wrapped.
But that it's soft also, that it's not a tight, hard wheel.
Yeah, so we play with that also in function of what the client wants.
Sorry, I gotta let these guys have their moment. They're like,
that on purpose.
Now this is changed more than the other one, no?
So the late models had all this plastic in here, right? You hate it or you love it, but since what we're doing is to stay as close as possible to stock, we kept with the original one. Arguably, the round gauges are more in demand for people. Just because of the year, we keep it to this. So don't get fooled, because we've basically re-engineered everything from driver side to passenger side. Air conditioning, full Gen 5 vintage air unit that sits tucked away under there, controls heat and cold, is all managed through this interface here, which looks stock, but
it really does. I'm glad it's not like a standard off-the-shelf
no, it's not
controller.
the 3 little vintage air rollers.
And again, not knocking that, but you're going this deep.
Yeah, so this
so
label on here is, you know, I'll show you the original label.
Copied the original, basically.
Yeah, but we basically repositioned everything because we are now also delivering air to the back area. So we've got ducts going under the carpet, under the seats, bringing air, climate control to it's a family car, right?
That's so good.
You got to be thoughtful of everybody.
Yes.
The gauge cluster, this is new stock gauge cluster that's been updated to basically accommodate all the HEMI readings. This plate here, normally you'd have the defroster, sitting here, so this controls your up and down of the window. This is your headlights and the dimmer for the interior lights. The defroster nobody ever uses in these cars because they're always stored inside. So we said, okay, we need serious brakes on this. So the e-brake, it's an electronic e-brake.
Nice.
And it's controlled here. But you see, we read basically the original font and we redesigned this plaque here in order to accommodate through the original button the e-stop.
Yeah.
Same thing with the climate control, and then of course on the stock radio, that was an old stock Jeep radio, gutted it out, Bluetooth, HD radio, and so on and so on and so on.
Any of you guys watching right now, you got to know that the more simple something looks, the least simple it actually is to get it there.
Absolutely right.
And I've learned that time and again, over and over. I mean, I can't tell you how many times something looks, well, it looks all original. It's like, yeah, we tried to make it look like that, but actually everything's been scanned and CAD and you know, man, it's, yes, you know.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Thanks, man.
beautiful.
So while you're sitting here, this is also, since the last one, all our Jeeps get these plaques that allow anybody working on the car to scan this QR code, and they have the full build history.
Oh my
They
gosh.
have the maintenance schemes, they know what products, what part numbers. Every single vehicle we build gets this personalized
That is
plaque.
so smart to do. So they're not married to having to have you service. If they live in California, they can just scan it and
They can
you could
have
probably
the full...
take this to a Jeep dealer then. Whoops.
Hoppa!
Horn works. Yeah, right away you hear the... So good. I love how much you can always hear the whine of the supercharger. I love that. It's such a Dodge thing, man.
Yeah, and this is fairly insulated, fairly well insulated, right? It's
Yeah.
under the hood here in the back of the firewall. We did a lot of work to try to contain the noise,
Yeah.
because you don't want it to be too much either, but you like to be reminded that you have a supercharger under there.
100%. I mean, you want to hear that whine. I sure do. Are the seats stock Jeep?
Yeah, so these are the stock seats, stripped down to the bare, basically the bare metal. We reinforce the springs, powder coat the whole assembly, new foam on top of it, and then it's Moore & Giles leather all around, and the Cumberland cord here in the center is new stock. So we still have...
Is it really?
Yeah,
Wow.
we still have some rolls of that.
You get a lot, that's one of the things you do a lot of, right? Is you find new old stock. Like you were showing me the fog lights up front. That's new old stock.
So, I've never owned any other vehicle than these Jeeps, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
starting with Jeep Heritage, the traditional, restoration company, we bought up full dealerships full of parts.
So for years you've been buying stuff.
Yeah, for
You've just
20 plus years.
God, this is so beautiful, man. I mean,
Thanks, man.
One of the things I noticed right away is when you step down onto the carpet here, it's very plush, soft carpet.
So that's a tricky thing, right? Because there's one company that makes an aftermarket kit for these Wagoneers. The pile that they use is just not correct. It's too short.
Wow. God, it just drives great though. I'm one-handed driving it. Obviously we're going slow, dude. We're going 40, 45 miles an hour or whatever, but like, I don't feel any need to grab with both hands. It's not darting around the road. It feels...
You'll bring it to 90 miles per hour.
Not
and
even think about it.
And just want to cruise, and then you want to pass someone.
Boom, stand on it, it's there.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So to come back to the carpet, this is...
Yes.
It's not a synthetic material. It's actual sheepskin.
Is it really?
Yes. So this car
This is all sheepskin carpet in here?
It is all natural sheepskin carpet.
Oh my gosh, dude.
There is 28 little sheep that basically sit in this car right now.
But you got all.
Yeah, because it's so full. You know, it's the back of the seat.
Yes.
It's everywhere.
It's
you know,
everywhere.
So it's stupid. This carpet alone in this car, we're probably 20 grand out just on carpet.
Boy, I just keep coming back to how it drives, though, Daniel. You guys have.
Thanks, man.
I mean, it feels like exactly what it is. It's still. There's elements of it that make me feel like I'm in classic Jeep, but it's just better.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, all the power in the world is there, but I mean, even the steering, it's not so overly refined that I feel like I'm in a 2022, 2024 vehicle.
Right, you still have a little bit of
There's still a little play in the wheel.
Right.
You know? Yeah, it is what it is exactly, is it does feel, everything in here reminds me of what the classic vehicle was, but it's all updated with nicer materials. Obviously the drive is, I mean, this thing's just wonderful. So what is, back to the part about pricing and stuff, so you're always building direct to a client orders a vehicle, you're building that vehicle, and you have years worth of them lined up right now.
Right.
You said a few years worth of vehicles. This is a first of, we're gonna build this even without a client lined up. So if somebody wants to buy this vehicle as it sits right now, and I know you're gonna, like you said, the shifting needs to be dealt with, right? You've got around 1,000 miles, so you've been making sure all the shakedown's done. What's the cost of this thing gonna be for somebody?
So we start with a 5.7 liter Hemi, which is 345, around $250,000, and up. The traditional 392s, the full Vigilante package, is starting at $295.
Yep.
And up. This here, just due to the amount of complexity with the interior, the drivetrain being maximized, the wood grain adds a lot. This is priced at $385.
$385, got it.
Immediate availability, no 2 years of waiting.
No waiting.
Which, obviously has a price of its own as well.
A lot of the folks that I know that are in the financial range of where they can afford to drop 385 grand, they want it now. They don't want to wait 2 years.
Right.
They really don't.
There you go.
God,
you saw that last little.
I mean, you really feel it pulling.
It's good,
dude.
right?
I'm like, I don't know if I'm even giving it half pedal, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm going so mild. Do you know the weight on this?
Yeah, 5,200 pounds.
5,200.
Yeah, and the original vehicle was about 4,500.
Yeah, makes sense though. All the additional materials in the interior, heavier engine. You got
heavier axle. That rear axle is so heavy compared
I would imagine
to the 44.
So we point straight.
Point straight and shoot.
We go. And you can tell if you just stay in it, it's going to keep pulling. Wow, this is so cool. I love this.
It's stupid.
It's so good. But it's so controlled, Daniel. There's nothing... I mean, I know what you were saying before about, you don't want to hand the keys over to just anyone, but I got to be honest, man, you kind of could. In the sense that, I mean, dude, I'm not having to wheel it in the slightest. Pointed dead nuts straight like that and put your foot to the floor, it stays completely and totally straight.
Yeah.
There's no...
And it really handles that power magically, basically, right?
I mean, I think I'm totally floored by this thing. The last one I enjoyed it too, because I feel like overall they drive very similar. but knowing that you've got 800 horsepower right under your foot.
I have a family mobile.
Dude. It's just so good. It's really funny to think of you pulling up and sitting at a stoplight. Some guy in whatever he's driving, he wants to show you who's boss. And I mean, you could just embarrass a lot of people with this thing, because I mean, you hear it, you know what I mean? But at idle, this thing really comes alive when you stand on it. But at idle, it doesn't sound like you're driving an 800 horsepower
Correct.
Jeep.
Yeah, it's very
Wagoneer.
subtle, especially for a Wagoneer.
It's so good. No problem going straight, and it just keeps coming on. It's really, but it's so, yeah, it's just so well done. It's so completely drivable. Really nice.
I enjoy it, man. I enjoy that you enjoy it.
Oh,
That puts a big smile on my face. You know?
dude, I really, like I said, man, I liked the last one, but I'm in love with this one. And that thing is awesome. As you could tell me driving it down the road, I kept falling in love, which I always say I won't do. But it's because everything on it's right. It drives great. You gotta love having 800 horsepower available. And although the interior is not an opulent, crazy one-off custom, at the same time, everything in there almost is one-off to the car, but keeping with the flavor of the originality. So check out more from Vigilante. I gotta tell you, being the second vehicle we've shot from them, I love what these guys are doing. And as always, I say thanks for hanging and watching, because I do appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. All right, man, later.